Now, how did the mob on January 6th get mobilized to attack the Capitol, and who may have helped them? Those questions were at the center of today's January 6th hearing on Capitol Hill.
Yeah, members of the House Select Committee investigating that attack really focused on possible connections between former President Donald Trump and his allies with extreme right-wing groups like the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers. They are the two largest groups accused of pre-planning the attack on January 6th. Many members of these groups are now facing sedition charges.
Investigative reporter Jordan Fisher was in the hearing room on Capitol Hill today. You've been there several times now. You're back with us now, Jordan.
Yeah, and what stood out to you today?
Yeah, the committee really focused on two things today. The first was this tweet that Donald Trump sent on December 19th in the early morning hours, and the second was the way, as the committee put it, that tweet electrified and galvanized his supporters. And you can see it on the screen right now. It's worth setting up that tweet a little bit. Here's the context. At this point, 60 legal challenges have failed. His own attorney general has come forward and made a public statement that there was no electoral fraud that could have changed the election, and he'd just come out of this very contentious meeting that devolved into a screaming match about this plan to seize election machines. But none of that worked. And so, as the committee says, in the early morning hours of December 19th, he goes to Twitter and he tells his 88 million followers, be in January 6th, be there, it will be wild. Now that, they said, put wheels into motion. And several things happened. One, the pro-Trump internet lit up with supporters so excited to come to January 6th. And the second thing is, groups like the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys began communicating with each other, began coordinating with each other, and began talking to people in Trump's immediate orbit. That includes his longtime confidant Roger Stone. That includes Stop the Steal founder Ali Alexander. And that includes his former national security advisor Mike Flynn, all of whom spoke at the rally on January 5th, immediately preceding.
They were trying to do a lot more connecting of the dots between the president and the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers. You've been listening to this closely for weeks and months now. Did we learn anything new today that we didn't know?
I think we did. We've reported a lot about how the Department of Justice says the Oath Keepers, for example, stashed weapons outside of D.C., about Proud Boy plans to come wearing colors that they wouldn't be able to be identified. But what we heard from today was the first time was from someone who was very close, the national spokesman of the Oath Keepers on January 6th, Jason Van Tottenhove. Now, he said he first encountered the militia during the 2014 Bundy Ranch standoff. At that point, he was an investigator, he was an independent journalist. They invited him to become the national spokesman, and over the years, he watched them radicalize. What he said today was what he saw the militia become was something with paramilitary aspirations, and that was because leader Stuart Rhodes, the founder of the militia, had all of these ideas and wanted something very specific on January 6th. And here's what he told the committee.
This could have been the spark that started a new civil war.
Tottenhove said we shouldn't mince words. He said that Rhodes wants to be a paramilitary leader, and he saw Trump's messaging before and on the day of January 6th as giving him the nod to do that.
That's the commander-in-chief. Okay, so these hearings, we know we've been learning more and more details about that attack. What happens next?
Well, the first thing that happens next is there's one more meeting, at the very least, of the committee. That's next week, and they promised that we're going to go back to January 6th, and we're going to go minute by minute through the day's events, and we're going to be inside the White House, and we're going to see from the testimony of people who were there what President Trump did and what he didn't do, and that includes not calling the Department of Defense, not calling his acting attorney general, and not for hours listening to his White House counsel who begged him to put out a statement, calling them off.
Before we let you go, Jordan, there's been some talk about whether they would do this hearing again during the day or whether it would be a prime time, thing to end this whole thing. Do we know anything yet about the timing of when this next one will take place?
We don't have an official date and time yet. We're expecting it to be prime time. This is their last chance to make their case to the public before they put out a report, and expected report this fall.
Jordan Fisher, investigative reporter, following every little twist and turn there's been.
Thank you, Jordan. Good work.
And remember, you can see all of our coverage of the January 6th insurrection and watch those hearings live through the WUSA 9 Plus app for Roku and Amazon Fire TV. That's available 24/7 and it's free. You just search WUSA 9 in the Roku or Fire TV app store.